Welcome to Growth Golden Years, where your golden years are your greatest years. There was a specific day. You probably remember it. Maybe the last child drove away with a car full of boxes. Maybe it happened slowly, one room at a time, over several months. But at some point, the noise stopped. The meals for everyone, the schedules, the constant movement, all of it just stopped, and the house got quiet. Really quiet, for the first time in decades. And in that silence, a thought arrived that you were not expecting. Not grief exactly, not loneliness exactly, something quieter than both. A question: who am I now? If you have ever felt that, even once, stay with me, because that question is not a crisis, it is an invitation. Here's what nobody tells you. Almost everyone feels this. The parent who gave 20 years to raising children, the professional who poured everything into a career now winding down, the person who was always the caretaker and suddenly nobody needs taken care of in the same way anymore. And the world expects you to feel relieved. The hard part is over, you should be happy. But instead, you feel something nobody prepared you for. A quiet, an emptiness that doesn't have a name. And not being able to name it makes it heavier. So let me name it for you right now. You built your identity around what was needed from you. You were needed as a parent, as a provider, as a caretaker. Your sense of self had a shape because the demands around you gave it that shape. And then the demands changed and the shape dissolved. That is not weakness. That is not failure. That is one of the most universal human experiences that almost nobody talks about out loud. But here's what I need you to hear. That quiet house is not a punishment. It is the first unscheduled space you have had in decades. For 30 years, you were building a career, building a family, building stability for everyone around you. You got extraordinary at meeting other people's needs. And now, for the first time, the most important person whose needs you get to meet is you. That is not a loss. That is a promotion. The people who thrive in this chapter are not the ones who already knew who they were. They're the ones who got curious, who treated the quiet not as emptiness, but as possibility. And let me remind you of something. You raised humans, you built things, you survived losses that would have broken someone less resilient. You showed up for decades when showing up was the hardest thing in the world. That person doesn't disappear when the house gets quiet. They finally have room to breathe. So here's where you begin. Just one question, not who was I, not who should I be. If nobody was watching and nothing was expected of me, what would I actually do tomorrow morning? Not the answer that sounds good, the real one. However small it sounds, however unexpected, however impractical, that answer, whatever it is, contains the first sentence of the most important chapter you have ever written. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." He didn't say it happens at 25, he just said lifetime. The house got quiet, and in that quiet, a question appeared. Who am I now? That question is not the end of something. It is the beginning of the most important conversation you will ever have with yourself. Start it today. This has been Growth Golden Years, where your golden years are your greatest years. Subscribe, new video every week, for everyone whose house got quiet and didn't know what to do with the silence. Let's grow.